Welcome back, guys. Kirby, you sent me this article on more Americans with government loans are falling behind on their mortgages, a warning sign for consumer health. So it goes on to say that borrowers who got home loans through government-backed programs are increasingly falling behind on their payments, a potentially worrying signal for how lower income Americans are faring in today's economy. Delinquency rates on Federal Housing Administration and Veterans Affairs loans, which is the VA loans, FHA and VA guys, reached 11.03% and 4.7%, respectively, at the end of last year, according to the Mortgage Bankers Association, reaching pre-pandemic levels. While FHA and VA loans don't have income restrictions, they're insured by the government and have looser down payment and credit score requirements than conventional mortgages, making them popular among borrowers who dinged credit and or lower incomes. Conventional mortgage delinquencies are creeping up too, but much slower. At 2.62%, they remain below pre-pandemic levels and near historical lows. The divergence in that data likely reflects the extra economic pressures lower income borrowers have faced in recent years, in particular, high home prices, inflation, and the rapidly rising interest rates designed to address it. And goes on to give more information, but I mean, I think this is something that I have always thought to myself is that most of them can't afford to put more than that 3.5% down. And they select the no down payment option if they're veterans. They go with the 3.5% down with FHA, which I personally dislike because it locks you into that where you can't pay off, you can never get rid of your PMI fees. Um, you have little equity in the home, your payment is high, and it's just to like kind of get people into a house to where they think that they're doing something good, but if you can't afford it, this is just gonna it just puts you into a headache. I mean, delinquencies for VA loans being or for FHA loans being up 11.03%. That's that's the biggest or that's the most common option people select when they're buying a home is that FHA option. So I don't think this comes as a surprise, but I think it shows the financial position that most Americans are in. But what do you think on this article?
The thing that stick out to me is something that I always say to you, Alex, and I know you. When I first started telling you this, you thought I was crazy. I said people will take care of their wants before their needs, and then the crazy thing is, you see in the article it states that because of inflation, that's why they are falling behind on their mortgages and delinquency rate. One thing for sure, two things for certain, you need somewhere to live. So the article is saying that because the cost of vehicles, the cost of groceries, the cost of gas, the cost of other goods are getting more expensive, that's why they're falling behind on their mortgage. Hell, you can eat ramen noodles and be good. Ramen noodles still going like 25, 50 cents a pack. but but you need somewhere to live for sure. So people are, because the cost of wants are going higher, because most people that have these, I mean, well, all the people that have these FHA and VA loans, those are fixed rate. I mean, yeah, the insurance for property taxes may go up, especially in Texas more than others, but the delinquency rate ain't just consolidated to the high state income tax areas. It ain't just consolidated to the high insurance increase areas. It's across the board. And the reason why is because people spending more on their want. Everybody got, they got a new appetite. Now people vegan, non-GMO, they all this other crazy stuff that costs a lot of money. But you can survive on ramen. Trust me, I did it all my young childhood life, and I'm still here. Because the cost of their wants go higher, that's why they can't pay for their needs. That's what the article says to me. That's the biggest stick out point. And I always tell you, I don't watch the news. I like to read the news because I like to read it 3 or 4 times. When you watch it, they're gonna tell you something, slip something in there to make it so you can see it from their point of view. I like to read it a couple times so I can, dive in the creases to be like, oh, it did say this. And that's what I derive from this article is because the cost to go to Disney World is higher. Now I can't pay for my mortgage. You a new fool if you spending more on your wants and you won't take care of your needs. I mean, unless people, it's a new trend out there, and people just gonna decide living in cars. What the hell do car payments and buying cars going higher? The cost of trips cost more. What the hell do that got to do with paying for your mortgage? Sit your ass at home. And that's what I derive. I mean, you can say, hey, all this stuff is going higher or the delinquency rate is higher. That's true. But the reason why it's higher is because people are being retarded. And I know that's you can't say that. You can't say that in this world. But people are being not financially responsible. They're not being financially responsible when it comes to doing what they need to do because everybody want to do what they want to do. And they're not looking at the bigger picture of, hey, I need somewhere to live more than I need to go to the club. I need to go party, to go buy my 50th pair of shoes. So for the article to blame everything else besides, hey, getting paid, paying the bills first, then that's what it is. Because the article is not saying that. The article ain't saying, oh, well, people are cutting down on groceries. They ain't saying, oh, people cutting down on all of the other spending. Oh, they foregoing the mortgage instead of foregoing everything else because the cost of everything else going higher. So they got to spend more money on everything else before they pay their mortgage. What kind of Section 8 shit is this? What is it? I just don't understand. That's what it is. And then going to the fact of just the delinquency itself, I always tell people, because people call me all the time, hey man, I want to try to get this property for the lowest down payment possible. Why? The lowest down payment possible, meaning the highest monthly payment possible. So you want to forego spending an extra $10, $15, $20,000 now so you can pay an extra $15, $20,000 in interest every month later. It's crazy. I mean, of course, they'll never put me in politics or the government, but if you can't afford a healthy down payment, then you can't afford a mortgage. In the VA, of course, I'm military. VA, you don't have to put nothing down. And I got a VA loan one time, and my mortgage payment was stupid. And then from then on, I never got a VA loan again because I didn't need the security of, hey, you can buy this with no money down. If I could buy it with no money down, that means I don't have, and I put no money down, I do not have the aptitude to save money to make sure I could take care of my family. I don't have the aptitude to make sure that I can maintain this house for the next 30 years. And my son, he's military, and I tell him, and then he's like, well, they got the VA loan, no money down. I don't even want to hear no money down. I want to hear, hey, I put so much down that my mortgage payment is $600-$700 a month. Because at $600-$700 a month, you can be a greeter at Walmart and make $600-$700 a month. But with no money down, your mortgage payment $1,500, $1,800, $2,500, $3,600 a month. Now you gotta be on your grind all the time. You got to be a slave to the system to maintain this house, to be able to afford to stay in this house. So that's why I've never been a big proponent of, oh yeah, no money down, low money down. Trust me, I did it, and it was hard as hell. And then I did it in Texas where property taxes go up higher than the stock market. I went from $983 to $1,400 a month in 3 years. No money down though, but I was no money down. So I ain't no money down. But the truth of it is I had no money down because I didn't have the propensity to save money. So I paid for it the whole time I was in the house with making a payment. But then later on, after I matured more in finance, and then I moved to Florida, then I went 100% down. Now I ain't worried about nobody taking the house. Now if I can't afford the only thing I got to pay is taxes. I mean, of course, I know insurance. People think you got to pay insurance. Once you own a house outright, you don't have to pay insurance if you don't want to. But I haven't. But if I can't afford the $2,000 a year in property taxes, then shame on me. But that's what, $175 a month? Now I can go without lights and all that other stuff, but I got shelter over my head for $175 a month. Why? Because I put more down. The lower the payment means the easier it is for you to live. The higher payment means you're going to be in a crapshoot your whole life. Now you got to sit there, boss cuts you out. Oh, I just got to take it. Why I got to take it? Because I got that mortgage payment. That's what it is. And jobs know this. Like employers know this. Yeah. Like these people work here because they have all this debt they have to pay. So I can do and say whatever I want to say because they so bogged down in debt. I'm waiting for somebody to cuss at me. I'm waiting for it. So I can tell them to kiss my ass. But that's what it is. But the employers know who needs it. And most people, 99% of people, need the job. That's why the bosses are, and when people are like, oh, my boss is an asshole. So they can be an asshole because you chose to sit there, you chose to get on all this debt. Like the Bible say, the borrower is slave to the lender, and people don't understand that. You're not a slave as in you're slaving to Bank of America or whoever holds your mortgage. You're a slave to that job because you got to take whatever they giving you because you chose to take out this debt. You have to sit there and take whatever they're giving you just so you can keep affording this debt. That's why we talk about all the time making work optional. Do whatever you got to do. Take the money that you make and plant seeds so those seeds will grow. So work is optional, so you don't have to take the BS from your employer. You don't have to take shit from the asshole manager if you don't want to. But long as you in debt, like 99% of America is, then you got to sit there and take whatever they give you. Why? I need this job. But you don't need this job because of the money per se. You need this job to pay for bad decisions you already made. Just like Congress. They need to keep raising taxes for the bad decisions they already made. And people in our society, no matter what country, they're not as bad as Congress, but they run their life like Congress. Why? Because they don't. I would say they don't know no better, but they know something. They know, oh, America need to get control of their debt, but you won't get control of yours. Somebody make it make sense for me, because I still don't understand.
And the article also goes on and it says, here's one part that it's just insane. I know why it's this way, but it says Ricard, I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Ricard Bandebo, chief economist for Vintage Score, has been eyeing growing delinquencies among the high income group his credit scoring company tracks. Those earners who make over $150,000 a year are now falling behind on their mortgages, car loans, and credit cards at a relatively faster rate than households bringing in less than $45,000 annually. So, to me, this just says people that make more money inflate their lifestyles and can't afford their inflated lifestyle, whereas those that live on a lesser income have to forcefully budget more and have more controlled spending than those that make more money. And it goes to, I mean, what you said, people will give up their needs before their wants. Because these people probably think, oh, but we have to go out to eat, we have to go on vacations. You can't use inflation as an excuse. Like inflation affected everybody in some way. Everyone had to pay the price of inflation. But you don't see the entire nation crumbling because of inflation. I mean, if inflation affected our household, I would say that our bills between property taxes rising, insurance rising, gas, like gas for the car, and food, I would say that everything probably within the last 3 years has raised for us about, let's call it $500. I mean, if you can't afford $500 extra a month, you might need new income. I don't know. I mean, you might need a better job or you might need to find other ways to make more income. But it wasn't like $500 plus the amount we spend going out, plus these vacations, plus all this stuff, because we just stick to our budget. We don't change the house that we're in. Sure, we have to pay more in property taxes and insurance, but that's the only risen number for us. We're not splurging on food. We're not driving here and there. Like some people drive an hour to work, an hour and a half. That's insane. We don't drive that long. So there's things that you can control in your budget, but if you're going to be spending money on luxuries, obviously those luxuries as well have been hit by inflation. You're gonna have to pay that inflation too. But outside your household budget of just like in-house necessities, what else is there that's really killing your budget? That's really killing your month-to-month payments?
I gotta step in a little bit because I just want to, because you hit on the point and I don't want to forget it. When you said that your grocery bill went up $500, right?
Every,
Your grocery bill went, yeah, your grocery bill went up about $500.
everything, not
I
groceries,
look at,
everything.
yeah, all right. So everything, the outlier necessities went up $500, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So with that, so let's say that's the same. that's the same avenue that happened with him. Because I know you cheap. You know what I mean, Alex go to a restaurant and get a shot of beer just so he ain't got to pay no money. So, but so let's just say that's the number for everybody else. 500, $1,000, it went up. And I'm just saying for my household. I mean, I don't know what my grocery bill went up because I hate the grocery store. Last time I went, and this is what I do when I go to the grocery store. Not go to the grocery store. My son, he got snack runs. I'll go with him on that just so I can make fun of him. But I just give him the grocery cart and I just stand at the front of the store and I just go to the cash register when he's done. But let's say I'm in that same scenario. Let's say money's tight and then now my other necessities went up $500. The cost of them went up $500. Then I get new necessities and I will stick to the grocery store. Instead of Oreos, you eating Great Value. Instead of Tostitos, you eating Great Value. Yeah, it don't taste the same, but oh the hell well. My top line is not changing when it comes to expenses. If money is a problem. I remember when we are struggling, like we said in the other video. I mean, well, earlier, not in the other video, but earlier when I said that I got the house on a VA loan, no money down. I went from $900 and something dollars to $1,400. We was trying to save money. The cost went up to live, but the cost of everything else went down. I mean, we literally unscrewed light bulbs just so we wouldn't make a mistake and cut on the electricity in rooms and leave it on. We set the thermostat at 78 degrees or 77 or whatever my wife set it at, and it wouldn't let it go below. And we sit there and sacrifice so the number wouldn't go higher. So 900 to 1,400, that's a $500 gain. And then we lost $500 somewhere else in what people call necessities. My light bill went from 326 down to 175 to save money because the mortgage went higher. I went from top ramen to bottom ramen to cut down prices. That's what people need to do. But it's also based on a scale that nobody in this time had a raise or a price increase on their income.
But this is my point. Apart from that, because I mean your points are valid. I would say out of the $500, about 75 or 70, I would say about 70% of it, 75% of it is housing, was property taxes, insurance. Because our mortgage has gone up several $100s over the last 3-4 years. So I would say 75% of that $500, 70%, whatever, is property taxes, insurance. What we can't control, other than shopping for better rates with insurance, which we have. But my point is, so the remaining is, let's call it $150 went up for vehicle gas, food, $150. So if households, but that's my point, is like we live in a household of 4 people and our food bill only went up maybe, let's call it, I don't know, $50. So it's like, what are people spending their money on? So if housing was our biggest expense that went up, that's probably the same for other individuals too. Their property taxes probably went up, their insurance went up, and that put them to the point where now they're delinquent. So what else are you guys spending your money on? I mean, I mean, I'm sure it's going out to eat, I'm sure it's vacations and all this stuff, but if you can't afford your house, you got to cut that shit out, because that's what it's coming to. I mean, because we know exactly what we're spending on, because we're not constantly going out, we're not constantly going on vacations, we're not constantly doing all this other stuff like most people are doing. So we know exactly where our money is going. We can see it. So we can see, okay, prices have risen for us because of housing. The other couple pennies have risen because of food, because of gas. But other than that, we're not living in Cuba or Venezuela. That's my point with the inflation, is how can they use this excuse as to inflation is what is putting them out of a home.
Well, I'm gonna give you a rundown. How they get to this point? Social media, CNN, MSNBC, celebrities. You got people getting fatter, and they still eating organic, and they still getting fatter. So that don't help them. You got CNN is telling you all the health news and all this. Oh, this is what you need to do. So people think they're being health conscious. And then of course the grocery stores and stuff like that, and all these people like, oh, these people starting to buy turmeric and all this other BS. So let's go raise the price on it. That's what's happening. Celebrities saying, oh yeah, I got hyperbaric chambers and this all this stuff to take care of my body. You not them. But people will still try. People will be on a food stamp budget and still try to emulate what these people are doing. That's what it is. You know, social media is the biggest proponent of that. People see people fake balling on social media and they think, oh, this is what it looks like. So I can make people think that I'm balling. So they go do it. They go get the $1,000 a month car payment because they gotta impress the crowd. I'm using air quotes there. They gotta impress the crowd. That's why their costs are going up so much. But if I just gotta sit here, got a used car or got a paid off car or whatever, and then I'm still doing the same grocery shopping and they're doing less, my lifestyle don't change. Because one thing for sure, two things for certain. If I already have in my head, and my wife know, we got it written down. If our costs get below this, we cutting everything out. Of course, we're gonna make more money. That's number one. But if it gets over what our aptitude to make, then we cutting it out or trimming it down significantly. I mean, Alex, I mean, you know me. I go out and eat, and it's hundreds of dollars later. But if costs on the need side get too high, then well, it looks like we ain't doing that. Oh well. But people don't have that aptitude or propensity to do that because they care about what the crowd thinks, and the crowd is what's making them broke. And then that's why that's the major sticking point for me in that article is they blamed it on inflation. They blamed it on the inflation. That
Right.
means everything else as the reason. That means everybody's paying for everything else before they pay for what they need to pay for. How about pay for your house payment, and then whatever you got left, then you pay for all the other stuff. And then if the other stuff is just too expensive, that means you got to trim down. But people are not doing that. People are paying for wants more than needs. They pay for wants first, then needs. That's why they're having this issue.
That's it, guys. Let us know what you think. Don't forget to share your comments down below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe, send us more content, and we'll see you guys on the next one.